Hello everyone, I'm FMZ and welcome to Season 3 of Earning My Spurs. Today we take a look at the end of last season to go through the awards. The transfer window, as we have done it, it's a bit bigger than I had anticipated, but we'll have a look at that shortly. And we'll have a look at a preview at next season. Don't forget, if you enjoy this content, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave me a comment if you've got anything to say. Don't forget, I'm a member of the FM Creators community and the Passion for FM team. The link to the Discord servers is in the description. Let's get to the end of season awards. And we start with the awards. And we start with the Fans Player of the Year, which was Harry Kane. 40% of the vote. I think that's less than what he got last year, so you need to buck up your ideas, Harry. Goal of the season was Kyle Walker's goal back in October versus Everton. Farrow was voted the signing of the season at £35 million. He was a solid defender. Obviously scoring that goal in the Champions League semi-final will go a long way to cementing his legacy with us. And the young player of the year was Tanguy Ndombele. Moving along to the stats, so Harry Kane was the top goal scorer with 26 goals. Highest average rating went to Nelson Semedo with 7.13. Kane got the most assists with 10. Max Wuber got the best pass completion rate at 90%. Harry Kane also got the most player of the matches with 6. Nelson Semedo picked up the most yellow cards with 17. And he was also in the red card list. There was 4 of them in total. Romagoli, Semedo, Farrow and Brozovic all were sent off during the season. And as you can see, the spoiler box has returned for this season, but we have got a few outgoings. £115 million worth of outgoings. We'll start with the earliest one, which was Andrea Bellotti. He has joined Inter Milan for £50 million. Marco Asensio has joined Red Bull Leipzig for £35 million. James Rodriguez has joined Juventus for £18.75. Juan Foyth has joined Al Ahly for £9 million. Davinson Sanchez was involved in a part exchange deal with a Juventus player. Wonder who that could be. And finally, for the big ones at least, Lucas Moura has joined Lazio on loan until the end of the season. So I'll explain a few of those briefly. So Bellotti, £50 million. Obviously that was $20 million more than what we paid for him. So that was a no-brainer. We have replaced him. We'll have a look at him later. Marco Asensio didn't really work out, so he's gone. Same with James Rodriguez. Juan Foyth, we've got enough defenders at the club, and I thought it was time to move him on. Davinson Sanchez didn't want to sign a new contract, so we have done a deal with Juventus to bring in a part exchange player. We'll have a look at that shortly as well. And Lucas Moura was kind of just shoved out, mainly because we had reached the 25-man limit. We have got a couple of players over the 25-man limit. So yeah, Lucas Moura was surplus to requirements given that we had that many players playing on the right-hand side of midfield. So that's the outgoings. Let's take a look at the incomings. Now, Jan Oblak will not be back with us this season. So Zach Stefan has been brought in to replace him as the number 1. We pinched him under the noses of Arsenal, which is fantastic news. 26-year-old American international. As a command of his area, 16, that's a good rating for that. One-on-ones he's very good at as well. Reflexes he's very good at as well. He has been at the Gold Cup all summer, so it's only just arrived in time for the Community Shield. It's perfect timing, because he'll go straight into the side to play Arsenal in the Community Shield. So yeah, that is the goalkeeping situation sorted. £6.5 million for this guy, which was an absolute bargain. Speaking of absolute bargains, Leroy Sané is the next one. £28 million. Never in my wildest dreams did I think we would pay £28 million for Leroy Sané. So that was the reason why Marco Asensio left the club, because Leroy Sané is by far an upgrade. Pace of 18, acceleration of 16, dribbling of 17, crossing of 16 are just many of the key attributes for Leroy Sané. If you're going to win the title, and that is the aim this season, you need to have 2 players, fairly decent ones at that, in every position. So that's Son and Leroy Sané for the left-hand side of the attack. And, as I say, an absolute bargain at 28 million. Did somebody say Wonder Kids? No? Well, we've got one. Yari Basharin has been bought in from Anderlecht for £25 million. An advanced playmaker, 20 years old, dribbling of 16, first touch of 17, passing of 16, technique of 17, vision of 17, agility of 17, has the potential to be a 5-star player. At £25 million, Anderlecht must have been kicking themselves that it was such a low fee, but I'm delighted to bring him in. Next man in was Juan Bernat. He has been bought in from PSG on a free transfer. Left back. Not a position we needed players in, but his experience will go a very long way to helping us achieve our goals this season, in my opinion at least. Obviously, he's been at Bayern Munich, he's been at Paris Saint-Germain. They are two of the biggest clubs in Europe. So I couldn't very well turn him down for a free transfer. 28 years of age, Spanish international. Another freebie and another player that I thought we'd bring in for experience alone, and that is Arturo Vidal. Now, I've never been a fan of buying players that are coming towards the end of their career, but at 34, obviously with Barcelona, again, he's been around Europe winning things for years, so it wasn't too much of a drawback really to bring in Arturo. His mental stats alone are absolutely insane. Work rate of 20, determination of 20, aggression of 20. I don't think we've ever had a player that's had more than one in the 20 column. So that's a brilliant thing to bring in. Experience, 155 grand a week. It is a bit expensive, but if it works, it'll be a steal. Now, I mentioned earlier about Davinson Sanchez going in part exchange. Daniel Ruganai has been bought in as his replacement. We paid £40 million, so we paid a little bit over the odds. Even Davinson Sanchez was worth about £30 million, but we were trying to get them down, and Juventus were having none of it. So they've got a very good player in Davinson Sanchez. I believe we've got a very good player in Ruganai. He is a ball-playing defender. He's got height, he's got pace, he's got power. That are three things that you look at in a centre-half. Only the potential to be a 3-star player, but adding to a defence that was already pretty solid, given that Davinson Sanchez didn't want to sign a new deal, it was kind of a no-brainer. And last, but by no means least, the biggest transfer I have ever done. Mario Icardi has been bought in from Paris Saint-Germain for £71 million. The board took control of this one. They were unwilling to deal with it at first, but they decided that it would be in the club's best interest to go out and get him, and that is exactly what we've done. Off the ball of 20, heading of 18, finishing of 17, penalty taking of 18, balance of 16 are the ones that stand out the most. Losing Belotti, it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but when Inter came calling, I felt I had to let him go. It was always my opinion to go out and get somebody who could compete with Harry Kane. We bought somebody who can play in the same team as Harry Kane, so we're going to have to change the style potentially a little bit. These two guys, obviously Kane and Icardi together, it's a wet dream, isn't it? Let's be brutally honest. If it works, it's going to be amazing. So now you've seen all the transfers. Special mention, of course, to Jack Butland and Federico Chiesa. Their transfers have been completed, so we spent £217 million in total. But essentially we've let 6 go and we've brought 7 in, if you don't count the 2 that were already here. So that is good business this summer. Speaking of next season, let's take a look at the season preview. So here is the season preview. Liverpool are favourites to win the title at 2-1. Manchester City at 5-2. There's us at 3-1. That's probably the shortest I've ever seen Tottenham in a pre-season list to win the title. 7-2 Manchester United, 4-1 Chelsea, 9-2 Arsenal. Everybody else, forget about it. They are probably not going to be winning the title. Wolves at 12-1 are probably the closest, of course. But yeah, they can't really separate the top 6 if you look at those odds. So it's anybody's game this year, in my opinion. Relegation-wise, Stoke, Sheffield United and Aston Villa have joined us from the Championship. 2 of them are predicted to go down. Fulham are the other one they've predicted to go down. I think they did well to stay up last season, in truth. Aston Villa may have just about enough about them to stay up. But we've had a lot of influx into the Premier League. Forget the ones that have gone. So while Felix has joined the Premier League this year, as has Arthur, as has Kimpemba, and obviously Icardi as well. So that is the season preview. Let me show you what we're doing for fixtures-wise. So we start with the Community Shield against Arsenal. Obviously the FA Cup winners against the Premier League champions. Then our first Premier League game is away at Everton. Then we play Chelsea, is our first home game. Norwich, Sheffield United, Manchester United in the first month. Arsenal in September. Obviously we've got Champions League as well this year. Looking further down, West Ham comes in January at home. Then we finish the season at Old Trafford. Hopefully with a Premier League title to lift. But who knows? And I think that's the good thing about this season. It's all or nothing. Basically, we have thrown every chip we have on the table. Well, bringing in Icardi has definitely changed the game. You know, we are going full tilt to win as much as we can this season. Obviously, that is always the aim. But after missing out on the Premier League title by the distance we did, I felt after the Champions League final that we needed to change course. And that is exactly what we've done this summer. We have let go the players that weren't working out or were surplus to requirements, and we have replaced them with real quality. As I said, if you're going to win a title, you need to go through your team and you need it to have at least 2 players for every position. And now we are stacked, and I mean stacked to the brim, to the point where it's going to be very hard to keep everybody happy. But it's a good problem to have, and it always is. So we'll drop back in after a few league games. We'll see how things are going. In the meantime, if you enjoy this content, please leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leave me a comment if you've got anything to say. Don't forget, I'm a member of the FM Creators community and the Passion for FM team. The link to the Discord servers is in the description. That was episode 1 of season 3 of Earning My Spurs. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.